All right, let's talk Legos. If you're not using Legos to spark imagination and creativity, then what are you doing with them? I was not big into Legos as a kid, but as an adult, they're kind of my favorite thing to do. In fact, brought home a set that I used to have in my classroom because my child really wanted to play with them. And so she built this little, what does she call it, a house? I mean, she's 3. This is pretty good. We built a turkey over Thanksgiving, and we built a Christmas tree that has since been deconstructed, as she informed me, so she could use it for her tower. But the point is, Legos are a great place for kids to start when they're trying to find inspiration, especially in things like writing or researching. So for example, with the turkey, I used a story coin with a little turkey on it from the fall set for her to look at as we built our turkey. And for a 3-year-old, we looked at matching colors, sorting, counting, all of that great stuff. But for somebody that's older, you can use the coin to build your little turkey and then create a story. So we could have kept going with those story coins and created an entire short story about a turkey that was going to a Thanksgiving dinner or trying to escape or best friends with a hedgehog, whatever it is. I've also used them in the classroom when my 5th graders were studying inventors. You can use Legos to kind of play around with ideas and inventions. So one of their projects for me was to do a web quest to learn about inventors that are part of their standard. Hold so I can let the dog out. Okay, 5th grade standards in Georgia focus on a handful of inventors. And so their web quest was all about learning about these inventors, who they were, what they did, and then they got to play. So they got to learn about other kids who created cool inventions, how they might go about coming up with ideas for inventions. They could sketch out, draw their invention, or get out Legos and try to build what they were envisioning in their mind. You can also use them in a multimedia purpose. So I went to the Georgia EdTech Conference, and there was a presenter there who was presenting about Legos and stop motion. I love stop motion too. And so her idea was to take Legos, specifically with students with disabilities. So she had a very specific population of students that she was working with. And on top of having that specific demographic, the students also hated writing. A lot of kids don't like it. It's challenging. It's not something that they do naturally. And for a lot of kids, it's a high barrier to entry, meaning that there's a lot of background knowledge and a lot of background skills that students need to have in order to feel like a good writer. Often when kids write, they come up with ideas, they start writing, but then they compare what they've done as a child to authors that we've read or mentor text of people who are adults and have worked for years writing and had editors and people to give them feedback and support. So it's a big barrier to entry for them, and then they feel defeated. So what she was doing was having kids play with Legos, building whatever it was that they wanted to build, and when they were done, they could take what they built and put it into a stop motion and make a little video. So now they're building, and then I could make a stop motion, just taking the orange and trading it out with a yellow to make it look like it's flickering, and I can tell a story about a fireplace. The cool thing was that they were writing without even realizing it. So they were having to plan, they were having to draft, use voice and dialogue, but they were doing it in a way that was fun. They were more likely to come up with something unique and exciting because they were doing something that they were comfortable with. Their minds were free to create the story. They weren't focused on making the story perfect or making sure their grammar and spelling was top notch. Instead, they were focused on doing something they enjoy doing and they're already familiar with building. So if you have not tried Legos in your classroom for various reasons, I highly suggest it. I think they're underused. I think they have a great potential to not just spark creativity, but to support students in writing and grammar and science. You could make models of plants or cells, recreate a battlefield for social studies. You could use technology to create the stop motion, to create videos. There's just endless possibilities. So I want to know, what do you think you could use Legos for in your classroom? And if you need ideas or you want to continue the conversation, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Inspire2Enrich, and let's keep the conversation going. I want to know your ideas, and I want to know what you would use in your classroom to get your students excited about learning. Take care.